We back.
Welcome back, everybody. It is still Black History Month. We have one more day left to go through our own history, our own ancestors, and each one of them has a particular story to tell. We're going to go through our panel to see who everyone has chosen for their own particular person of history for Black History Month. So we're going to start with our guest, Tony Redgrave, aka Joker Got Bars. He has a particularly funny fact list to give us. So go ahead, Joker, you got it.
All right. So, I wanted to shout out, shouting out people from our past, our history. So I want to give a special shout out to Mrs. Darlene Goodhair Jackson. Now, Miss Jackson was the very first black woman to tell folks that she got Indian in her family. So yeah, we want to shout out. Matter of fact, that exact Indian she said it was Cherokee. She said she was Cherokee black. So and it was. I want to make sure and give her a good shout out because she started a whole trend of women saying, we got Indian in our family. I got Cherokee and I'm full blooded Seminole and all that good stuff. So yeah, Miss Darlene Goodhead Jackson, out in Augusta, Georgia.
Augusta.
Did you have anybody else for us?
Well, don't forget we do got Darnell get little Jackson. That's Darlene's brother. He was the first black person to actually steal something from you and help you look for it.
Oh wow!
Wow!
I
was not ready for that.
Got Jaquan Sugar Baby Willis. He was the very first black child to have lights in his name.
Oh, okay.
We are our history.
That's so funny. And we're gonna go to Zena. Zena, what do you have for us?
I'm doing the Black inventors.
Okay.
And the first one is Patricia Bath. She did the patent for the laser probe. She did the treatment for the cataracts. Then there's Louis Lattimore. He was actually the one who did the light bulb and the telephone. He assisted with those developments. You got Daniel Williams. He's the pioneer of open heart surgery. To successfully complete it, may I add. Then you have Maria von Brittany Brown. She did the closed circuit television system. And then Elijah McCoy. He's one of the most famous black inventors. He did over 50 inventions in his career. And his best one was the lubricating cup for the railroad system. And that is also where we got the phrase the real McCoy, because so many companies were trying to steal his invention and sell it as their own.
Okay.
That was great. Okay, we're gonna go to Annie.
I chose to do my Black History Month facts about Billie Holiday because she was born in my city that I'm from, Baltimore, Maryland. She was born in poverty to her mom, Eleanora Go, and her roommate father, Clarence Holiday, on April 7th, 1950. And her mother was a teen mother. She grew up, she was quite a rebellious child. She skipped school a lot, and because she skipped school a lot, it caused her mom to have to go to court for truancy. And she dropped out of school actually in the 5th grade and got a job working in a brothel. She was doing errands for the people in the brothel. And when she was 9 years old, she got sent to a facility for troubled girls. She later changed her name after she started to get famous to Billie Holiday in appreciation to the film star Billy Dove. She was married 3 different times throughout her lifetime, but when she was married to Joe Guy in the 1940s, that's when she
Bruh.
started using heroin. She was locked up for
Oh my God.
she got locked up for multiple things
Oh
like
my God, yo.
prostitution.
Why are you talking about her?
Who, me? Are you talking to me, Joker?
Oh no.
Huh?
Not bad, my mic was on my fault. Stop
She
playing the
was
game.
she was locked up for multiple things throughout her life, like prostitution, narcotics, possession, and she was even locked up during her stay at a hospital for possession of heroin. A lot of people remember Billie Holiday from her famous single "God Bless the Child" and her controversial single "Strange Fruit," which was originally wrote as a poem. It protested the lynching of African Americans. Even though she never learned how to read music or she never had any vocal training, she released 38 charting songs in her lifetime. She sung at least 30 songs and was considered to be one of the highest paid performers of her era, even though most of her earnings that she got was spent on her drug addiction. She received many Hall of Fame nominations, and she got inducted into a lot of Hall of Fames, such as the Grammy Hall of Fame, the National Women's Hall of Fame, and even the Apollo Theater inducted her into their Walk of Fame. And the first Black woman ever to work within the orchestra. And a statue of Billie Holiday was built in Baltimore. Her final performance was in New York City in 1959, where she was later brought to the hospital for heart and liver problems and died of alcohol and drug-related problems. When she died on July 17th of 1959, her life savings was $1,150. And that's all I have on the famous Billie Holiday.
And up next we have Chance.
Okay, I picked the legendary Dorothy Jean Dandridge. She was an American actress, singer, and dancer. Perhaps she was one of the most famous African American actresses of her day because she was nominated for an Oscar, and also she was nominated for a Golden Globe. And they celebrate her with a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame. So that was my person.
Thank you, Chance. Now for my person, now I'm from Philly, so last year I went to the African American Museum, and I encourage anybody who has an opportunity to go to a museum like that to do it. While I was there on the bottom floor, they were doing a seminar on a woman I had never heard about. Her name was Constance Baker Motley. This woman became the first Black woman to be accepted into Columbia Law School. She was an assistant to Thurgood Marshall, and he was chief counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. She worked with the NAACP until she got her degree. She was on the legal defense team for Martin Luther King. This woman was responsible for litigating high-profile cases involving many school desegregation cases. Everybody knows Brown versus the Board of Education, where it was deemed unconstitutional for blacks and whites to go to the same schools together. She was one of those legal teams that were responsible for overturning those cases. She was also responsible for arguing cases before the United States Supreme Court. She was one of the first Black women to do that. She also helped people gain admissions into several universities. She was also responsible, and think about this, today we have the right to sit down in restaurants. Today we have the right to sit down and eat in different places. We have the right to enter hotels. We have the right to walk into bathrooms that don't say whites only anymore. Constance Baker Motley was also responsible for litigating those cases, and she won those cases in court. A lot of people don't know that. Um, she is also responsible for women reporters being allowed to interview men in sports locker rooms, which was
That's nice.
typically and totally unheard of back in the day. She fought that case and won that case. She's also the first woman to be elected into the New York State Senate. She became the first woman to hold position in Manhattan as their borough president. She was also the first black woman appointed to the United States District Court, which made her the first African woman to become a federal judge. My
Mm.
person, Constance Baker Motley, the lady was fierce. I encourage you to look her up. I encourage you guys to look up everybody's choices on the panel. That was wonderful.
That's
This is Black History,
Yeah, that was really good.
and
Um,
we're good.
I have a little known Black history fact I like to
All
share.
right now.
This is about the Courageous 12. The Courageous 12 were 12 black officers from St. Petersburg Police Department in Florida who band together to stand up for their rights. The Daring Dozen sued the city to win the right to fully use their powers to arrest any offending citizens, not just black ones. Their remarkable story began in St. Petersburg in the 60s. Some of the officers were already familiar with one another after growing up together in the city's rough neighborhoods. For some, becoming police officers was a chance at personal redemption despite the reputation the force had of mistreating its black residents. For others, it was a hope to make a difference. Officers Leon Jackson, Adam Baker, Freddie Crawford, Raymond DeLoach, Charles Holland, Robert Keyes, Primus Killen, James King, Johnny B. Lewis, Horace Nero, Johnny Stiles, Nathaniel Wooten all passed rigorous tests and tough grilling from white officers to see if they could handle the pressure. According to the accounts, the group didn't experience much in the way of racism from other white officers, but white commanding officers effectively limited their abilities. Black officers were not allowed to work in white neighborhoods and could only arrest other black citizens. This frustrated the group. With the help of the lawyer James Sutherland, the 12 officers took out a bank loan to mount an offensive against the city of St. Petersburg on May the 11th, 1965. The group filed a lawsuit in federal court and buckled up for a long fight for justice. On August the 1st, 1968, 3 years later, the officers won their case and were able to carry out their jobs as intended. Just two of the 12 officers are still alive today.
Oh yes, that's unbelievable. I want to thank our live audience for coming out, listening, and participating in our hot topics. I also want to give a special thanks to our guest speaker, Mr. Tony Redgrave, for squeezing us in his schedule. And I
Yes.
want to thank the viewers who are home viewing, and hopefully you'll tune into our show next week. So until next time, sit back, relax, and enjoy some tea.